hum of your Whisperfin sub-manipulators, usually a soothing, almost imperceptible thrum against the deep-sea currents, now felt like a discordant whisper in the vast aquatic silence. You, a current keeper of the Oceanic Harmony Guild, were accustomed to the precise ballet of the sub, its advanced propulsion systems designed for environmental sensitivity, a silent guardian moving through the liquid world. Your purpose, to rescue endangered aquatic species and their fragile habitats, felt profoundly affirmed by such technology. Yet, beneath the familiar hum, a tremor vibrated through the hull, a warning sign echoing the widespread disruption that had begun days ago. The ancient navigational beacon, the very heart of the deep-sea transport network, was malfunctioning. Not just a minor glitch, but a chaotic pulse, sending phantom currents and false readings across the abyssal plains, turning well-charted routes into treacherous mazes. You instinctively braced yourself, your manipulators, built for delicate repairs and precise cataloging, flexing with a nervous energy that belied their usual calm. The soft, sandy texture of the seabed, usually a comforting, familiar landscape under your manipulators as you glided just above it, now seemed hostile, prone to unpredictable shifts. What was once a predictable carpet of fine particulate, stirred only by gentle currents, now swirled in eddies, revealing forgotten detritus and sharp, jagged rocks. The malfunction wasn't just rerouting vessels, it was tearing at the very fabric of the deep. This was no mere technical hiccup. This was an attack on the delicate balance you swore to protect. Your primary mission, a routine survey of the bioluminescent sponge gardens in the Trench of Whispers, was now a distant memory. The emergency channels had been ablaze with distress calls, lost cargo ships, disoriented research vessels, even ancient, self-sustaining habitats reporting erratic power fluctuations. The cause, pinpointed to the central beacon, remained stubbornly elusive. The Council, in their infinite wisdom, had tasked you with a daunting mission. Reach the Abyssal Archives, the legendary repository of deep-sea knowledge, where secrets older than recorded history lay dormant. There, they believed, you would find the pearl of pure perception, an artifact rumored to allow temporary understanding of aquatic languages. Only by truly comprehending the distress calls of the ocean's oldest inhabitants could you hope to diagnose the beacon's affliction. As you navigated through increasingly turbulent currents, the pressure outside the hull a palpable weight, a new, more alarming report filtered through. The crystal kelp forest, a vibrant sanctuary of marine life, had begun to wither. Its once lustrous fronds, usually swaying with a serene, rhythmic grace, were now drooping, their crystalline structure dulled and brittle, shedding delicate shards that drifted like sorrowful snow. This was a catastrophic development. The kelp forest wasn't just a habitat. It was a cornerstone of the abyssal ecosystem, purifying waters and providing vital nutrients. Its demise would cascade, threatening countless species, including the elusive deep-sea urchin weavers, a species you were particularly dedicated to safeguarding. A flash of vibrant, swirling bioluminescence caught your attention, breaking through the encroaching gloom. It was Coraline Prisma, her own specialized sporepath vessel, the gooey grove gleeseeker, spiraling through the water, her movements unusually frantic. Your designation as a sporepath guide meant your paths often intertwined, mapping the intricate, nutrient-rich currents that fed the ocean's hidden gardens. Coraline, with her infectious optimism and deep connection to the living networks of the deep, was usually a beacon of serene joy. Now her facial manipulators were drawn tight with worry. "You, current keeper," she broadcast, her voice a rapid-fire burst of concern over the comms. "The whispering willow wobbles. Their hum, it's gone flat. The harmony, it's breaking. The spores, they're not propagating correctly." You felt a pang of shared distress. The willow wobbles were ancient, symbiotic organisms whose rhythmic, almost melodic vibrations were crucial for maintaining specific nutrient flows and even influencing localized current patterns, a natural, living counterpart to the mechanical beacon. If their harmonious hum was faltering, it was a profound indicator of systemic collapse. "Coraline, I'm en route to the Abyssal Archives. The Council believes the Pearl of Pure Perception might hold the key to understanding the beacon's malfunction. And now, the crystal kelp forest is withering. Her bioluminescent tendrils, usually a soft, inviting green, pulsed with an agitated red. The kelp, this is worse than I thought. Without their hum, the willow wobbles can't filter the nutrient imbalances caused by the erratic currents. It's a domino effect, current keeper. We need to fix this, and quickly. I'll meet you near the archives. My spore sensing equipment might be able to detect the anomaly's origin if we get closer." A wave of relief washed over you. Coraline's intuitive understanding of the deep's biological networks was unparalleled. Together, you had navigated countless intricate spore paths, her guidance often complementing your own meticulous current keeping. Her goal, to help the whispering willow wobbles get their harmonious hum back, was inextricably linked to your own. The fate of the deep truly rested on this joint quest. The journey to the Abyssal Archives was a gauntlet of environmental chaos. Ghost currents tugged at your hull, trying to pull you off course, while pockets of superheated water, likely from disrupted geothermal vents, shimmered dangerously. Your Whisperfin technology, designed for stealth and precision, was pushed to its limits, its silent propulsion systems fighting a constant, roaring battle against the turbulent depths. You, the current keeper, felt every jarring tremor, every metallic groan of the sub, as if it were your own body reacting to the ocean's agony. The entrance to the Abyssal Archives, usually a subtly illuminated aperture carved into a colossal undersea mountain, now glowed with an erratic, flickering light, a beacon of urgency in the Stygian black. As you approached, a sleek, obsidian-colored vessel, more predatory in design than your own graceful Whisperfin, emerged from the archive's depths. It was Fleur Reed, the curious cryptographer from the Stellar Ocean Academy. Her vessel, bristling with advanced scanning arrays and defensive countermeasures, moved with an almost aggressive efficiency. Current Keeper, Fleur's voice crackled through the comms, devoid of her usual academic pleasantries. I advise you to turn back. The Abyssal Archives are under restricted access. This area is unstable. Unstable because of the beacon, Fleur, you countered, your voice firm. The crystal kelp forest is withering. The willow wobbles are silenced. We need the pearl of pure perception. The Council sanctioned this mission. The Council does not fully understand the implications, she replied, her tone edged with a peculiar blend of concern and resolute defiance. There are vulnerable secrets here. Secrets of the Academy, yes, but also of the deep itself, which are better left undisturbed. The pearl is not a simple solution. Its power is unpredictable. You narrowed your optical sensors. Predictable or not, Fleur, the alternative is the collapse of entire ecosystems. The current chaos is far more unpredictable. What are you truly protecting? Fleur's vessel shifted, positioning itself directly in your path. I am protecting the delicate balance that keeps this technology from falling into the wrong manipulators, or from being misinterpreted. The pearl is ancient. It requires context. Context I am not at liberty to disclose. Not yet. Trust me, Current Keeper. I have been studying the beacon's anomaly for weeks. What you seek will only create more problems. Her goal, to protect a vulnerable secret of the Academy, was clearly at odds with your own. You saw a direct threat, demanding an immediate, if risky, solution. She saw a greater, unseen danger, requiring a more cautious, deliberate approach. The core misunderstanding between you was a chasm. You believed in the power of revelation to solve, she in the necessity of concealment to prevent further harm. It wasn't malice on her part, but a deep-seated, almost zealous, conviction that some knowledge was too potent, too easily weaponized, to be unleashed without absolute control. For now, her vessel held its position, a silent, unmoving blockade. You were forced to navigate around her, a slow, deliberate detour that ate into precious time. The urgency of the situation gnawed at you. Every moment delayed, the kelp forest withered further. The willow wobble's hum faded to an inaudible whisper. You knew, with a certainty that chilled you to the core, that this obstruction was directly contributing to the mounting crisis. You pressed onward, deeper into the archives, Fleur's vessel trailing you at a respectful but persistent distance. The archives themselves were a labyrinth of ancient, pressure-forged alloys and pulsating bioluminescent conduits, testament to an unimaginable civilization. Data slates, some glowing faintly, others completely dark, lined towering shelves. You knew the pearl was rumored to be in the Chamber of Whispers, an inner sanctum protected by intricate biomechanical locks. As you approached the chamber, a complex array of sonic sensors blocked the path. These weren't just standard security measures. They were designed to detect even the slightest harmonic imbalance, requiring an exquisitely precise sonic frequency to disengage. Your internal chronometer flashed a warning. Time was running out. The crystal kelp forest was nearing critical mass. Entire sections were simply dissolving. Your flaw, a bit of a perfectionist, began to assert itself. You knew the general frequency range, but to disarm it flawlessly, to avoid any unintended resonant frequencies that might trigger further disruptions, you needed absolute precision. You began meticulously calibrating your sub's sonic emitter, adjusting the modulation, fine-tuning the amplitude, measuring the feedback loops with obsessive detail. Minutes bled into an hour, then another. "Current keeper, what's the holdup?" Coraline's voice, strained with panic, broke through your concentration. The willow wobbles. Their vital signs are crashing. The ripple effect is accelerating. The currents are becoming erratic globally. The surface world is reporting unprecedented tsunamis and massive oceanic dead zones. Your manipulators froze mid-adjustment. The fate of the world, the weight of it pressed down on you, far heavier than the abyssal depths. You had been so focused on executing the task perfectly, on avoiding any potential misstep, that you had lost sight of the overwhelming urgency. Your meticulousness, usually an asset, had become a paralyzing liability. The crystal kelp forest was dissolving into nutrient-depleted dust, directly impacting the oxygen balance of the entire ocean. The willow wobbles, silence, was disrupting the fundamental energy pathways of the deep, causing widespread ecosystem collapse. The malfunctioning beacon was now doing more than just misdirecting ships. It was actively tearing the planet apart. A wave of self-recrimination washed over you. All those hours spent calibrating when the deep was screaming for immediate action. You had prided yourself on thoroughness, on leaving no margin for error. Now, the greatest error was your delay. You felt a profound shift within you. Desire for perfection, for the flawless execution, crumbled under the sheer, agonizing reality of the consequences. Sometimes good enough was necessary. Sometimes speed was paramount. You needed to adapt, to trust your instincts, to be less of a meticulous technician and more of a desperate current keeper. With a newfound, desperate resolve, you made a quick, decisive adjustment, an educated guess based on years of experience, but far from the perfect calibration you usually strove for. You pulsed the sonic emitter. The sensors whined, then, miraculously, shimmered and retracted. The path was open. You shot into the chamber of whispers, Coraline's vessel close behind. The chamber was circular, vast, with walls of polished obsidian, reflecting the faint, ethereal glow of bioluminescent spores that drifted like motes of starlight. In the center, suspended within a field of shimmering energy, was the pearl of pure perception. It pulsed with an inner light, a mesmerizing orb that seemed to hum with silent knowledge. Just as you reached for it, Fleur's vessel materialized, blocking your path once more. This time, her defense systems were active, a visible barrier of crackling energy surrounding her sub. "I cannot allow you to take it, current keeper," she stated, her voice tight with conviction. "The pearl is linked to a much older, much more dangerous entity. Its true purpose is not as a translator, but as a key to unlocking something dormant, something that should never be awakened." "And what is that, Fleur?" Coraline demanded, her voice cutting through the tension. What secret could be more dangerous than the death of our world? The creature, Fleur began, her voice wavering slightly. The one that current keeper here witnessed, that unrecorded deep-sea creature. It's not just a creature. It's a guardian, a living conduit to an ancient intelligence. The pearl isn't meant to translate aquatic languages, but the language of that intelligence. And that intelligence, while benign in its slumber, holds the true power over the beacon, and thus over the currents that shape our world. My academy's secret, it was the discovery of this entity and the pearl's true function. We've been trying to keep it dormant, believing its awakening would bring chaos worse than any malfunction. Suddenly, the entire chamber vibrated with an immense, resonant hum. Not the faltering hum of the willow wobbles, but a sound so deep, so ancient, it resonated in your very bones. The bioluminescent spores in the chamber coalesced, forming a swirling vortex of light. From its heart, immense, fluidic, and utterly magnificent, emerged the creature you had witnessed years ago, the unrecorded deep-sea leviathan, its form shifting and reforming like liquid starlight. Its presence recontextualized everything. It wasn't just a creature, it was a living enigma, a silent force shaping the deep. Its colossal form, adorned with intricate, swirling patterns of bioluminescence, now seemed to radiate a profound, mournful energy. It moved with a slow, deliberate grace, its massive manipulators, far more numerous and complex than your own, reaching out towards the pearl. "It's here," Fleur whispered, a mix of awe and terror in her voice. "The guardian." The creature gently nudged the pearl. A beam of pure, shimmering light erupted from the pearl, not directed at you, but at the creature itself. As the light enveloped it, the creature began to speak. Not in sounds, but in a cascade of images and raw emotions, flowing directly into your mind, bypassing language altogether. The pearl wasn't for temporary understanding of aquatic languages, but for direct communion with the primal consciousness of the deep, an experience far more profound and terrifying than mere translation. The creature revealed its truth. It was not a guardian of the beacon, but was the beacon, or rather, an ancient, living progenitor of the technology. The mechanical beacon was merely an echo, a tool derived from its natural ability to harmonize the currents. Its malfunction wasn't a failure, but a cry of agony. The crystal kelp forest's demise, the willow wobble's silenced hum, it was all a symptom of the creature's own distress. Through the flood of images, you understood. A rogue current, an anomaly created by a distant, forgotten rift in the continental shelf, had been slowly poisoning its energy field, causing its natural harmonic emissions to become erratic, leading to the global chaos. Fleur's Academy, in their attempts to protect the secret, had inadvertently suppressed the creature's subtle distress signals, mistaking them for dangerous instability, thus exacerbating the problem. They had focused on the device rather than the source. The creature, through its silent, telepathic communication, showed you the rift, the subtle energetic leak, and the precise harmonic frequency needed to seal it. It wasn't about waking it to chaos, but about healing it so it could resume its natural role. The pearl wasn't a key to unleash danger, but a bridge to understanding, a means for the deep to finally communicate its suffering to those who could help. Fleur, her face a mask of dawning horror and understanding, dropped her guard. Her entire worldview, built on the premise of protecting dangerous knowledge, crumbled around her. We misunderstood, she breathed, her voice filled with regret. We thought we were containing a threat when we were stifling a plea for help. You felt the last vestiges of your perfectionist tendencies dissolve. This wasn't a problem for precise calibration. It was a wound requiring a gentle, intuitive touch. You extended your manipulators towards the creature, a gesture of empathetic understanding. The creature reciprocated, its vast, gentle manipulators brushing against your sub. It imparted the exact coordinates of the rift and the precise, complex, but intuitively understandable frequency required. It wasn't a perfect numerical calibration, but a melodic sequence, a hum that resonated with the very core of the willow wobbles. Coraline, you commanded, your voice steady with newfound purpose. You're the spore path guide. You understand natural harmonies better than anyone. Can your vessel emit this frequency? Can you sing this hum? Coraline, her eyes wide with wonder, nodded vigorously. Yes, I can. This isn't just a frequency, it's a song. The very song the willow wobbles are trying to remember. Together, you raced towards the forgotten rift, Fleur's sub, now unblocked, following with a new, humbled determination. The journey was still harrowing, but now you had a purpose, a true understanding. Coraline, guided by the creature's imparted harmony, calibrated her own spore-emitting systems, not with rigid precision, but with a fluid, organic responsiveness. A pure, resonant hum emanated from her vessel, not a mechanical tone, but a living sound, echoing the willow wobble's lost melody. As her hum met the distorted energy leaking from the rift, the chaos began to recede. The turbulent currents smoothed, the superheated pockets dissipated, and slowly, gently, the rift began to close, not with a violent seal, but with a calm, biological mend. The creature, the living beacon, felt the healing, and its own chaotic emissions began to stabilize. The immediate relief was palpable. The ocean, which had been writhing in agony, now seemed to sigh in profound relief. On the journey back, the crystal kelp forest was already showing signs of recovery, a faint, crystalline green returning to its fronds. The reports from the surface channels were jubilant. The tsunamis had subsided, the dead zones were shrinking. Back in the now stable Abyssal Archives, the creature remained, its presence a comforting, knowing anchor. Fleur, stripped of her protective secrets, stood before it, offering a silent apology. She had learned the hard way that true protection sometimes meant vulnerability, and that knowledge, however potent, was only dangerous when hoarded or misunderstood. She committed to reevaluating the Academy's protocols, advocating for openness and true understanding over veiled protection. Coraline, her willow wobbles now humming with renewed vigor, danced around the archives, her delight infectious. Her goal to restore their harmony was achieved, and in doing so, she had helped to save the world. Her connection to you, already strong, deepened into a bond forged in crisis and shared triumph, a partnership of intuition and meticulous care. You, the current keeper, no longer a slave to perfection, but an attuned listener to the deep, understood that your purpose was not merely to fix and protect, but to understand. The unrecorded deep-sea creature, once a mere secret, was now revealed as the beating heart of the ocean, a profound connection to an intelligence that transcended human comprehension. Its unexpected aid had not only revealed a path forward, but had recontextualized your entire existence, shifting your perspective from the guardian of habitats to the humble conduit for the deep's own voice. The pearl of pure perception, now understood as a bridge to primal consciousness, remained in the archives, not as a tool for translation, but as a monument to the ocean's profound, living wisdom. The deep, in its infinite mystery, had whispered its truth, and for the first time, you truly heard it. The world, silent no more, began its long, harmonious hum anew.